Hello and welcome to an episode of Peace News Now Live this Tuesday, April 29th, 2014. Boy, it's good to be with you. If you're listening live at lrn.fm, you know there's a chat room built into that webpage, but you don't get the video feed that's coming live via YouTube at peacenewsnow.com/live. That's the best place to watch the show because you can watch, interact with other listeners, chat with me, tweet. It's all kind of interactive over there. In case you're not yet familiar with this show, my name is Derek J., and I am a peace activist, a peace propagandist, and I produce a show twice a week called Peace News Now, in which we talk about acts of peaceful resistance that are making the news. And boy, do we have a packed episode today. It's a monumental episode because for years, I've been talking about this PeaceKeeper app. Maybe not years. I said it twice, but it's maybe not true. At least 1 year I've been talking about this PeaceKeeper app. That I know I can say with confidence. What is it? Well, apps are changing the landscape for freedom in America and indeed the whole world, because apps, or short for applications, are things on your phone that you can use to, like little programs. And this little program is pretty handy. It can take the place of police officers and firefighters. Well, maybe not take the place of, but at least augment the responsibilities of. What am I talking about? Okay, so it's an app that you can put on your iPhone right now. It's downloadable at the Apple App Store. You cannot yet get it on an Android phone, but the release should be within a month. I'm already talking to the producers of this app, see if we can get them on Peace News Now to talk about it. Maybe give us a little demo. If I had an iPhone, I would be giving you a demo right now, but I'm working off an Android right now, so hopefully that'll be coming. So, okay, what is it? You install it on your phone. You have your friends install it on their phone, and your family and nearby neighbors. And if you have an emergency, like a fire or a break-in, some kind of robbery, the police raid, or whatever, you can preset these different emergencies that may happen. And you can instantly, with the push of a button, notify all the people on your contact list about what is going down. And not only that, not only does it notify a bunch of people at once of this important event that's happening that you need help, it tells them your location, and it immediately puts them into a chat room with all the other people who got the message. So, you know, for example, if there were a fire at my house, I would notify about 5 different neighbors. And let's say only 3 of them are home, I would get, they would be able to correspond with each other and say, oh, I'm bringing buckets of water over to Derek's, and the other would say, oh, I'm a town away, I can't get there. And so this is a brilliant way for your friends and neighbors to have instant knowledge of what's going on with your emergency, instead of relying on the old world systems that we did 100 years ago. You call up one phone number, it's a central directory, 911, and then they listen to your immediate needs. Then they dispatch from a central location, either EMTs or firefighters or police or all 3, and then there's mayhem on the roads. They're not the closest people to you, most likely. And they're not the people who are going to do the most professional job. So we've seen in the news, we know that police are often called to 911 scenes, and then they complicate things by making arrests or investigating for alleged crimes rather than seeking to make victims whole. And so this PeaceKeeper app is a big, big deal. You can learn more about it at peacekeeper.org. But I wanted to present a story that Liz Reitzig of nourishingliberty.com blogged over at copblock.org. It was on the front page of copblock.org today. I'm so excited. This is great. So let me just read to you what Liz Reitzig has written. Published today at copblock.org by Liz Reitzig. As difficult to acknowledge as it may be, the unfortunate truth is that we are in a place today where domestic police brutality has taken a dramatic toll on innocent lives. Another casualty of the inflated police aggression is the well-based distrust of the law enforcement system. Taking true stock of the evaluation, we see that deaths of Americans at the hands of American police officers has surpassed deaths of American soldiers in the Iraq War, in part because our police force is overly militarized. Our distrust is a measured response to a real problem. Those frequent and increasing incidents of government brutality, such as Kelly Thomas, Luis Rodriguez, Justina Peltier, just to name a few, prove that police presence, even in response to a crime, is often a great risk factor for assault and even death. These stories are endless. The facts, wrenching. People can justify all sorts of cruelties. For many, legality equates to morality. But as Dr. Martin Luther King so aptly points out in his letters, never forget that everything Hitler did in Germany was legal. The working cultural assumption is that the justice system serves everyone equally. That theory has repeatedly proven false, with incarceration levels here higher than any other country, and more blacks imprisoned now than during the time of the Jim Crow laws. To those who think that our police are heroes who protect the safety and lives of your family, look around you and ask the hard questions. At what point does the collateral damage become too great to bear? When it's your beloved pet or your beloved dying child? Or when you become the victim of a truly unaccountable system? In a country fraught with this increasing police brutality and long response times, emerging technologies promise a viable antidote to the rampant and escalating abuse of power. Cell phone apps have swept the world with solutions to everyday problems, providing connectivity to seemingly disparate populations. One new app offers a promise of peace, in contrast to the incessant violence associated with institutionalized law enforcement. The PeaceKeeper app does this through a principled vision and clever approach. The app connects community members directly to each, fostering community interdependence by empowering community members to protect each other. Imagine, instead of making a call to a law enforcement agency that's more likely overworked and far away and certainly trained to respond violently, instead, you press the button on your phone, and your previously chosen neighbors will be alerted that you're in danger. They will be able to respond immediately, given their proximity to the situation. The app's strength is in its geographic proximity, and hence immediacy of the responders. This provides a keen solution to in-home invasion or any property or personal crimes committed at various physical addresses associated with the app. In the near future, once the app is widely adopted, this will be a powerful deterrent to criminals, knowing that the response team is geographically close to the point of potential crime. Victims of crime will not have to wonder if the responders will treat them as criminals. They'll choose their own responders based on who they trust. While there are still a few wrinkles to work out and wide adoption is needed in order for this to have maximum benefit, the vision and potential for this app are unparalleled. This truly creates the setting where law enforcement agencies are not needed and not desired. The app is available now to iPhone users in beta version, which is free, and by the end of May for Android users. Additional functions of the app are still in development, and the founders are committed to seeing improvements that allow for crime response and crime protection anywhere you go. At $30 per year, the app is the best way to peacefully protect yourself and your community. An added but not primary benefit, well, we will continue with this article when Peace News Now returns. But what do you think about this app? Is this something you would use? Do you have a smartphone? Maybe this is something that would be useless to you. Maybe you could still benefit from others who have it without having a smartphone yourself. This is unlocking a whole new world of possibilities, and I'm welcoming the end of a police state. More when Peace News Now returns. Muted. Hey, everybody. So if you're watching this on YouTube, I thank you for listening in live at peacenewsnow.com/live or on YouTube. And I want to let you know that this show is brought to you entirely by viewers like you. Maybe you're tuning in for the first time and you're enjoying the content that you're seeing here, learning about the PeaceKeeper app, certainly a revolutionary development. And if you want to incentivize more broadcasting of this type, of this quality, then you can donate to Peace News Now by making a crypto donation at donate.peacenewsnow.com. I've also got my QR codes here up on the screen for you if you're unfamiliar with what this is. This is how users of cryptocurrencies can send and receive Bitcoins, Dogecoins, Litecoins, Feathercoins, Namecoins, pretty much any coin you can think of. And the way it works is you scan it with your phone, then you send the Bitcoin along, and I receive it instantly. It never turns into cash, only if I have to buy something with cash, which is very rare. So this show has been entirely crypto-sponsored since 2012, and I don't do it with commercials because I think that's, I think in the age of 2014, in the information age, I think we can go beyond that. I don't think we need this commercial or this show is brought to you by blah blah blah, someone who doesn't really care but wants you to buy their product. I mean, yeah, that has its place, and I'm not going to put it down. Free Talk Live does that, it's great, but I'm really inspired by what Stefan Molyneux does with his model of donation-based giving, that he produces his show entirely based on the donations that his listeners send. And I want to do that because that means if I'm able to succeed purely on donations, it means that I'm providing the kind of content that you want to be seeing as a viewer. And so I want to be engaged with you. I want to see you in the chat room, read your emails, and direct this ship where the listeners want it to go. And so far what I'm hearing is you like stories of peaceful resistance, and I'm going to keep it to that until I hear any different. So once again, if you enjoy this program, please make a donation to Peace News Now. It's very easy to do, and we don't make any complaints about $1 donations. They are our most frequent, in fact, are the $1 donations, and I don't poo-poo that at all. If you like this content and that's what you can give, then I'm happy to receive it, and I won't put you down for what contributions you give. I think we've gotten even something as small as 1 penny. And the great thing about Bitcoin or any cryptocurrency is that the fees are so small, I could actually receive 1 penny and not be charged exorbitant rates and end up having to pay for that. Sometimes if you send just a penny to someone via PayPal, they actually have to pay out like 35 cents or something for that. So you're actually penalizing them if you send too little. And I know that's part of the reason why Stefan Molyneux complains, but once again, here are my QR codes. I'm happy for all donations you're able to send, and we'll be back with the show in 30 seconds. Welcome back to Peace News Now. We're talking about a revolutionary new app called PeaceKeeper. And if you have an iPhone, I want you to go to the iPhone App Store and check it out right now. It's a free download. It's in beta still, but definitely worth checking out. So we continue with the article that Liz Reitzig penned at copblock.org, and we continue here. Well, there are still a few wrinkles to work out, and while wide adoption is needed in order to have maximum benefit, the vision and potential for this app are unparalleled. This truly creates the setting where law enforcement agencies are not needed and not desired. The app now available... Oops, I already read that. Okay, an added but not primary benefit of the app is its ability to assist victims of government brutality. With the increasing level of government raids, many of these raids against small farmers and other property owners, this app proves to be the best possible solution for wide dissemination of information related to government aggression. The same functions that allow you to alert your neighbors of a home invasion will also alert them of government agents beginning a raid on your farm or property. Close neighbors, or those on the list to alert, will be notified to have the chance to witness and film an encounter with police or regulators. This app has two levels of notifications. The first level is to notify close neighbors who are committed to respond in moments to reported incidents. The second list of allies alerts a wider distribution of friends and family about any crime or aggression. This gives them the opportunity to get the word out quickly about any incident, whether it's a property crime or a government raid. The dual purpose and benefits of this app are clear. The vision of the PeaceKeeper app is beautiful. It's a vision of people coming together to bring us a free and peaceful future by replacing the monopoly that is police force, and the need to rely on such a force. The app does this in a way that nourishes and fosters community involvement and true neighbor-to-neighbor interdependence where peace and liberty can thrive. A system that continuously brutalizes peaceful people will inevitably result in the rampant cruelty we have witnessed. Conversely, opting out of a failing system and supporting a workable solution allows for the opportunity to create a new future. Get the app. Sign up with your friends. Use it. Spread it. We have a free future ahead of us. Let's find each other now. PeaceKeeper.org is the website. Check it out. I think it's an amazing opportunity to replace the police state with something peaceful, voluntary, and high-tech. This goes hand in hand with a report that I read today at BusinessInsider.com by Hunter Walker titled "Harvard Poll Shows Millennials Have Historically Low Levels of Trust in Government." Gee, I wonder why that could be. Now, he gets into it a little bit in this article, but I think it's also worth mentioning on the heels of the PeaceKeeper app article that people have a low trust in government, so much so that they are unwilling to call the police when they have an emergency. Life and death situations are now being calculated as, well, maybe I don't want to call the victors or the people who are going to come and save me, right? I don't want to call the heroes because they might actually tase me, bring me to jail, or they might come and help my broken leg, but then say, oh, look, you got a bong over there. You're coming with us. So people have record low trust in government, but Hunter Walker at Business Insider tells us more. A new poll surveying young Americans' political attitudes, released by Harvard University's Institute of Politics Tuesday, found millennials have less trust in government than ever before. Now, I'm also betting another important reason for this is the internet, that millennials have been born in an age where propaganda just doesn't have the same effect that it used to. You know, we could be told a lie and then go on Google and find out is that lie true or not. And often when we investigate government lies, find out that the government has been less than forthcoming with the truth, let's say. The Harvard poll shows millennials, which the pollsters defined as people aged 18 to 29, have lost trust in a variety of different major public institutions, including the president, the military, Congress, the Supreme Court, and the federal government as a whole. Of all the institutions tracked by the poll, the president and the military lost the most trust among Americans with a 7-point drop. Overall, the pollsters said that the level of trust millennials have in, quote, most American institutions tested in our survey had dropped below even last year's historically low numbers. This chart created by the pollster shows the steep declines in their composite trust index, which is the level of trust on average in 6 different public institutions: the president, the U.S. military, the Supreme Court, the federal government, and the United Nations. The drop is dramatic, as you can see here on screen if you're following along at peacenewsnow.com/live. The video feed shows that the composite trust index is dropping from a little below 40 points to almost 30 points. The pollster also created this chart showing young people's levels of trust in almost every public institution included in the poll dropping. Wall Street and the United Nations were the only institutions where the percentage of people trusted them to do the right thing all or most of the time stayed flat. Just shocking. So you can see some of these numbers from February 2010. The trust in the president was 44%. Today, in April 2014, that number is just 32%. Also waning is trust in the military, where trust in February 2010 was at over 50%, at 53%, and today under that number, it's 47%. What else has had a dramatically low trust level here? Well, Wall Street has a dramatically low trust level. That's not surprising, but so much so less than the government, so much so less than the president. I am surprised by those numbers. Now, these historically low levels of trust in the White House and government at large weren't the only bits of bad news in the poll for President Barack Obama and other Democrats. In general, the poll showed millennials aren't excited about this year's midterm elections. Currently, less than 1 in 4 young Americans under the age of 30 say they will definitely be voting in the upcoming midterm elections for Congress, a sharp decrease of 10 percentage points since the fall, the pollster said. During a similar time in the year of 2010, 31% of 18 to 29-year-olds reported they would definitely vote. However, the poll found young conservatives are more likely to vote this year than liberal millennials. I wonder why that would be. Do you think that the liberal millennials are just a little disappointed in what Barack Obama had done? They don't get too excited about midterm elections. They're not excited about elections in general, having learned the lesson that politicians lie. Perhaps these conservative millennials are too young to remember the days of George W. Bush, and they don't remember the truism that politicians will lie. Politicians lie, politicians lie, politicians lie. One of these days, the world's going to wake up and get that message. Keep on spreading it and keep on rocking in the free world. We'll be right back. This is Peace News Now. Stay tuned.
But it went all the way to Supreme Court, and the court ruled that since it's not race, religion, or gender-based, it's perfectly legal for cops to set a low IQ maximum.
Page at facebook.lrn.fm. That's facebook.lrn.fm.
We return to Peace News Now Live. Very good to be with you at lrn.fm and peacenewsnow.com/live, where I'm reading from businessinsider.com a report about historically low levels of trust in the White House. Continuing with this article, the poll found that young conservatives are more likely to vote this year than are liberal millennials. And I was speculating that that's probably because the conservatives are too young to remember the age of George W. Bush when people voted for this compassionate conservative. You know, I was very young. I was in 5th and 6th grade at the time of the election campaigns during 2000, and I remember the promises of George W. Bush that there would be no nation building, that he was running as a compassionate conservative, that he was a staunch Christian, that he talked to God every day, and that meant a lot to me at that time. So, yes, the politicians are total liars, and of course I don't need to tell you what happened. George W. Bush's 8 years were a complete disaster, and then we've got another 8 from Obama, and it's the same story over and over again. It doesn't matter if it's a conservative or a liberal. The person in power is going to make backroom deals with the private businesses that are huge in the U.S., and that's called fascism. When private and public interests align in secret backroom deals, and then it's enforced on the people without their knowledge or consent, that is fascism. And so no wonder millennials who have access to the internet are saying, I don't want to live like this. I can see I'm being screwed, and I'm not going to have it. I'm not even going to vote for these politicians. Voting isn't the solution because they're all crooks. So finally, my generation I get to be proud of, we're waking up. We're saying voting is not the answer. Currently, okay, let's see. Additionally, the pollsters noted that there are subtle shifts with more 18 to 24-year-olds identifying as Republicans, while the poll found Democrats still maintain an average among all voters under 30, their edge among the youngest segment of the group is slipping. You hear that, Democrats? You're getting old. We're seeing all you welfare queens grabbing for your checks, and we're saying, we don't want to pay for that. That's exactly what's happening with these 18 to 24-year-olds. Seeing all the welfare queens who have been living off the government teat for the last decade, and we're saying, we're paying for what? Now I'm starting to join the workforce, and they're taking 30% out of my paycheck for what? Where younger millennials once held a 15-point Democrat to Republican margin, we now see this margin shifting from 25 to 29-year-olds, while the 18 to 24-year-old margin is shrinking. You can see the shift in particular in party identification below, and here, for those who are following along at peacenewsnow.com/live, you can see the chart is now on your screen. You can see that in spring of 2010, the numbers for Democrats were higher than they are today, and for young Republicans, that number is I don't know. Actually, maybe you can read that chart a little better than I can. skipping along because I'm apparently illiterate for reading these Harvard charts. While the news about the trust in the president, midterm voter turnout, and party affiliation may have been bad for Democrats, the poll did contain one silver lining for them. The pollsters surveyed millennials on their opinions about Hillary and the New Jersey governor, Chris Christie. They found Democratic 2016 frontrunner Clinton is in a much more popular position than Christie is with the youth, who is considered a leading Republican presidential hopeful. Well, is that a surprise? You put the Yeti and the Loch Ness Monster next to each other and say choose one who's going to beat you to death. I mean, what difference does it make, to borrow a line from Miss Clinton? The poll showed Clinton had a favorable rating of 52% among millennials, while Christie's was just 21%. Furthermore, the pollsters found over two-thirds of young voters said their opinion of Clinton had not changed in the past year, and only 16% had said it has gotten worse. On the other hand, that means that only 16% is paying attention. On the other hand, the poll showed 43% of millennials who knew of Christie said their opinion of him had improved in the past year. Oh, wow, what? You guys are so dumb. Like, I started out with so much hope for this generation, saying, hey, they've got the internet and they're going to use it, damn it. But no. On the other hand, the poll showed that 43% of millennials who knew who Christie was, that means that not all of them even know who this guy is, which, you know, that maybe that's for better or for worse. On one hand, the anarchist in me says, great, they shouldn't be paying attention to who these criminals are. What difference does it make? But the other part of me that is politically engaged and active and aware of what's happening in the world around me says, guys, pay attention. These are the people who are robbing you. These are the people who are signing off your futures to foreign governments. You should know who these people are. And your opinion of them had improved in the last year? Yikes. That's a problem. Hey, but this isn't just a problem show. This is a solutions show. And one of the things that I see as a solution is accountability through transparency. And that means taking video. I've always got a video camera. Got one right next to me, always armed, as I call it. It's important to be armed with a video camera because it's a peaceful way to hold the world around you accountable. You know, you can't do it yourself. You can't write all the blog posts in the world. You can't take everything to court. But what you can do is take video. And that video can be reproduced all over the world, sent to China in an instant. Everyone can get the message. So video spreads. And that's how accountability will spread. But the police do not police themselves. People are still being wronged, despite the introduction of dash-mounted cameras, and the adoption of body-worn cameras are no different. To ensure a record of truth of police interactions exists and is accessible, we each need to film. That's why copblock.org is happy to announce the Accountability Through Transparency video contest, the winner of which will receive a pair of pivot head sunglasses. And for those who don't know, those pivot head sunglasses are pretty special. They include a video camera that is right in the center. It's not something that you would, it's not a hidden camera. You can see that there's a camera on the front, and there are buttons on the side that you can use to direct the video, but they're essentially sunglasses, and you don't need to be recording everywhere you go. You've probably seen the Google Glass image, the Google Glass glasses, and they're nothing like that. They look way more normal, for lack of a better term. But they've got that little camera on the inside, and you can turn it on and off, and it's a great way for accountability. Maybe in the dark, people wouldn't know that you're recording. But anyway, that's what the winner of the Accountability Through Transparency video contest gets. So how do you win? Well, by documenting and publishing police encounters, both good and bad, transparency and common sense have a better chance of prevailing, while empowering others to exercise their rights and hold public servants accountable for their actions. It's important to stand against injustice at every iteration, no matter how slight. A police employee in a no parking zone, for example. Failure to do that establishes a new norm, and the rights violations become more frequent and severe. For example, the brutal killing of someone for not obeying an arbitrary command. So who watches the self-proclaimed watchers? involved with the coercive monopoly called policing. We each do. And together, we are the network that is bringing positive change and a better reality. So, the accountability through transparency video contest details. 1. Document with a camera a police employee exhibiting a double standard, or the standards we expect them to live up to. Number 2, upload your video to your YouTube channel. Number 3, fill out the form at copblock.org/pivothead by the deadline of midnight Eastern Standard Time, May 23rd, 2014. So a little less than a month. The winner is chosen by the contest sponsors and will be notified by email, and the Pivot Head sunglasses will be shipped. Very exciting. And the questions, you can submit multiple submissions, so enter and enter often. Looking forward to seeing these videos from police accountability all across the country. This is how we're going to change the world, ladies and gentlemen. Peace News Now will return.
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Ovaltine. Give your kids the nutrition they need to be their best. Visit us at ovaltineusa.com. Telling your child about healthy food choices is important, but showing her what to eat goes a lot further. Have her help create the grocery list, then bring her to the store with you. Picking out healthy foods together helps kids get in the habit of thinking about what they're eating every day. For more tips like these, visit us at parenthood.com/yourfamilytoday.
What if the key to achieving liberty in your lifetime was to move together with others who think like you? Liberty activists are joining the Free State Project, which is over 70% of the way to its goal of 20,000 participants. And they're already making the move to New Hampshire. The successes are piling up and are proving the Free State Project is a real movement and no longer just a great idea. When you're planning your move, consider Keene. Keene is famous for its civil disobedience and non-cooperation, and there's plenty of political opportunity as well. From demonstrations and vigils to outreach and volunteering, there's a lot going on in Keene. Keene is the liberty media capital of the world, with television, talk radio, and more, all originating here. Though it's more than just activism, with regular social events each week. See what's happening at freekeene.com and get connected with video, audio, free books, a forum, and activist tools you can download and use in your area at freekeene.com. That's freekeene.com.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that tenth of a calorie it takes to click on something. facebook.freetalklive.com.
If you want to move to the Free State and you're looking for some real estate, well, I know a guy who's really great. It's the realtor Mark Warden. Do you want a home with 20 acres, a lakeside cabin? Any takers for renters, buyers, and sellers too? Mark Warden is the guy for you. PorcupineRealEstate.com.
Now that you've found the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM, you may want to help expose others to our great programs. To assist you in doing so, you'll find resources at promote.lrn.fm, including details on how to get a free bumper sticker, quarter-page flyers you can print out and distribute, banners for your website, as well as files that will allow you to make your own custom banners and graphics. Visit promote.lrn.fm and help bring new listeners to the Liberty Radio Network. That's promote.lrn.fm.
A meme is not easy to define.
What is it?
But you know it when you see it.
Amazing.
Don'tTreadOnMeme.com proves that.
I feel so enlightened.
Don't Tread on Meme, M-E-M-E, helping you give the finger to our monetary system of deception by providing you with silver dime trading cards. Unlike today's dollar, they have value. And they look neat, too.
Oh, would you look at those? Aren't those just swell?
Don'tTreadOnMeme.com. While you're browsing their numerous silver dime card designs, take time to download the easy-to-use Silver Calculator app. This simple piece of technology lets you know instantly, whether using iPhone or Android, just how much your silver coin is worth. Find out all the details at Don'tTreadOnMeme.com. now accepting Bitcoin. Don't tread on meme, your path to a voluntary society with honest money. Don't tread on meme.com, serving you faster than the Fed prints money.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip in on the right side of the page at lrn.fm.
Welcome back to Peace News Now. We're talking about why millennials might have a record low trust in government. Can you think of a reason? Call in. The number's Hi-Fi Civ Dis. That's 443-424-8347. Or Skype us, Peace News Now, to make your thoughts known. Okay. One possible explanation for why there's record low trust in government comes from the odd news section of UPI.com, where a trio of Oregon women were arrested for twerking outside City Hall in Beaverton. This is not a story from The Onion. Evan Blair writes at UPI.com. Oregon police were called to the scene of an impromptu dance party on Monday afternoon that got a little too wild to be going on in public. According to police, Christine Valaquez Cura went to Beaverton City Hall to pay a fine with two friends, Brittany Medak and Likom Yasmabath. After Cura paid the fine, the three women went out in the parking lot and began twerking. During the dance party, Medak allegedly began urinating between cars in the parking lot, while Yosmuth recorded the whole thing with her cell phone. A court employee called the Beaverton police, and the trio was arrested on multiple charges, including disorderly conduct, cocaine and methamphetamine possession, and offensive littering. Medak and Cura are 20, while Yosmabath is 22. So this could be a possible reason why people don't trust the police. The twerking seemed to have nothing to do with it, but they did have a dance party. I can relate to this. I had a dance party myself in the center of town in Keene, New Hampshire, and the party was broken up by police. We weren't being too loud. We weren't being crazy. There was no drugs present. But I can relate to this nonetheless because the cops ruined our good time. And what is the real crime here? Are there any victims in what they've been charged with? Marijuana, cocaine, methamphetamine, prescription drugs, dancing, peeing. Who's complaining? Who's been hurt here? No one, just the police. Now, just a tip to those who want to participate in dance activism: don't do it on government property. Just a tip, because they don't like it and you don't own it. So, I mean, they say you own it. They say it's public property and anyone can do whatever they want with it, but that's a lie. It's a trap. Don't fall into it. Next, speaking of why young people wouldn't trust the government, a Pennsylvania judge was sentenced today to 28 years in prison for what? Well, for selling teens into prisons. Examiner.com reports.
A corrupt Pennsylvania judge gets 30 years behind bars. His crime, sentencing thousands of juveniles to hard time in exchange for nearly $1 million in kickbacks from private operators of a juvenile detention facility. The media characterized Judge Mark Chiravella's case as kids for cash. Here's London's The Guardian with his case. Chiravella, known for his harsh and autocratic courtroom demeanor, filled the beds of the private lockups with children as young as 10, many of them first-time offenders convicted of petty theft and other minor crimes. The judge remained defiant after his arrest, insisting the payments were legal and denying he incarcerated youth for money. Want an example of Chivarella's view of justice when he sat on the bench? Here's Scranton's WNEP-TV with a parent's account.
One woman wrote about her 11-year-old son being sentenced for driving her car over a curb and damaging the undercarriage. She said he was sent away by Chivarella. They kept my son for almost 2 years. He was 13 years old, and when he came home, he was not the same kid.
Despite the verdict, Chivarella maintained his innocence, telling U.S. District Judge Edwin Cosick the phrase kids for cash made him the picture of judicial corruption. The Times-Tribune reports his complaint. Those 3 words made me the personification of evil. They made me the devil. They made me the Antichrist. They made me toxic. While he also extended an olive branch to the kids he sentenced. To all the juveniles who appeared before me, I would like to apologize for being a hypocrite and not practicing what I preach.
Isn't that nice?
Wall Street Journal notes Chivarella was none too happy with being on the other side of the bench. Chivarella's attorneys have objected to parts of the pre-sentence report, claiming it calls for an inflated sentence and wrongly considers misconduct for which Chivarella was acquitted by the jury, adding that defense attorneys also are expected to reference Chivarella's community activities. Chivarella should find some solace in the American justice system. According to the Examiner, he's already being given time off for good behavior, which, over the long haul, could really add up. For every sentence over a year, a prisoner gets 54 days good time for every year served. Based on good time calculations, Chivarella will be eligible for release June 8, 2035, after serving 8,702 days and being credited with 1,512 days for good behavior. Since Chivarella is 61 years old at the current time, he would be 84 years old when he's released from federal prison. USA Today reports Chivarella surrendered immediately. It's not immediately known where he'll serve his sentence. I'm Jim Flink for Newsy. Multiple sources, the real story.
That's just sad. As much as I love to see justice served, it's unfortunate whenever anyone has to go to jail or has to be punished in this way. I mean, he's getting out of prison at 84 years old. His life is over. And while I like to see consequences for people who do wrong, it's just so sad to see that this is the system that we live under, that it was even a tool for this man to use to send children to prison for cash. The fact that that was a possibility in the first place, there's just something wrong with that. Sorry about adjusting my levels here for volume. Sorry, it's a little bit wacky. So we're talking about the same thing. Why would young people not have trust in the government? Well, it's stories like that, where they hear that they've been sold off, they've had their lives ruined. You heard from the report, the mother said her son came back from prison. He was not the same boy. Now we hear about the cop who zip-tied a child, a 5-year-old boy. Let me see. We've got another story that's just remarkable. The headline, cop who zip-tied, tortured, and beat his daughter daily is trying to stay out of jail. So this is not the story that I thought it was, but you remember back in the day, the cop who zip-tied, tortured, and beat his daughter and was on video, now he's trying to stay out of jail. So he just pled guilty to child abuse. Here's the story from 7 News.
Right now, this former Berthoud police officer pleads guilty to child abuse. 7 News reporter Lance Hernandez broke this story on Twitter. Lance, this case had a domino effect within the police department.
Teresa, Jeremy Yachik's ex-girlfriend sent video of him beating and kicking his daughter to Berthoud's police chief. Nothing came of that video, so she made it public. Yachik was fired. The police chief resigned. Today, Yachik pleaded guilty to child abuse. Mr. Yachik, why did you plead guilty? The former officer said very little in court and nothing outside after entering his plea. Court documents show that after his ex-girlfriend sent video of him beating and kicking his daughter to the police chief, Yachik called her and said, "Nice try, trying to get me fired. It's not going to work." So the ex-girlfriend went public. Loveland police investigated the allegations and charges were filed. Investigators determined that Yachik physically abused his daughter multiple times in this home, punishing her for taking carrots out of the refrigerator. The punishment included Yachik sitting on top of the girl and choking her, punching her, and eventually kicking her in the side of her body. Yachik pleaded guilty to child abuse pursuant to Alford. That means he's not admitting guilt, but knows that if the case were to go to trial, he would likely be convicted.
Look at that monster, by the way. I have to pause the video and say, I mean, look, he's wearing this black leather jacket for a guilty plea. I mean, dude, could you dress up? Maybe wear a white suit or something? Like, sometimes people don't put enough effort into appearance and what they're being perceived as. Well, look, dude, you got the shaved head, the grizzly beard, the black shirt, black tie, black leather jacket. I mean, could you be more of a villain?
The eyes of the court, that is a guilty plea. In an interview with police, Yachik admitted the abuse, which also included tying his daughter's hands with zip ties and force-feeding her ghost pepper hot sauce. He will be sentenced in July. Now, after this case, the town did away with its police department and contracted with the Larimer County Sheriff's Office for law enforcement services. In Berthoud, Lance Hernandez, 7 News.
Just another sad, sad story. Although it's got a happy ending that they got rid of their police department. Like to see that happen, but with less torture of children. So the freethoughtproject.com reports that he's trying to stay out of jail. Just to recap, this Jeremy Yachik character was a cop who brought his brutality home. His psychopathic behavior led him to being caught on video kicking and beating his 15-year-old daughter for the crime of eating carrots. According to the court records, the girl told Loveland police investigators that Yachik abused her almost daily for years. The abuse allegedly included restraining her hands with handcuffs or plastic zip ties and then slamming her head into a wall hard enough to leave a hole and choking her until she blacked out. The girl also said he beat her with ropes, restricted her food, shackled her in a darkened room for hours, and force-fed her ghost pepper sauce. That's roughly 10 times hotter than habanero peppers. So why is it that young people don't trust the government? Well, with stories like these making the waves, making news every day, it's no wonder. Because we've got our eyes wide open. We don't believe the propaganda that our parents force-fed us. We don't believe the public school propaganda. Because we've got truth right in front of us.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our...
Oh, hey, and by the way, if you're just tuning in to Peace News Now, I want to thank you for watching. And I want to let you know that this show is brought to you entirely by your sponsorship. All of the listeners of this show are able to contribute via we don't do PayPal or any blood dollars. You're able to contribute through cryptocurrencies, which is the only way Peace News Now has been sustained since 2012. Just cryptocurrencies alone, and I'm thrilled to be able to say that. I mean, it's a real testament to how awesome this audience is, that you can give donations in Bitcoin, Litecoin, Feathercoin, Dogecoin, or Namecoin. If you want to donate something else, like I know Dave Ridley takes Infinite Coin, I guess that's cool. And if you want to give something else, then let me know, and I'll be happy to download the client and try and accept it. For example, I have a Darkcoin client, and maybe you want to send some Darkcoin, a new anonymous cryptocurrency. I would gladly accept it, but I would have to give you my QR code. So this is how you can donate. Just scan the QR codes that you see on your screen, and I will receive those donations, and I will make sure to use it to further the cause of Peace News Now. So thanks again for watching. Every donation helps. Thank you.
Page so you can interact with other listeners online. Listen, watch, and chat. All free at cam.lrn.fm. That's cam.lrn.fm.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at weusecoins.com. That's weusecoins.com.
More Peace News Now is coming up next, live after the news, here on the Liberty Radio Network, LRN.FM.
You're listening to The Liberty Beat, your daily source for liberty news and activist updates online at thelibertybeat.com. This is Justin Armand with your Liberty Beat for April 29th, 2013. Gold opened today at $1,296, silver at $19.44, and Bitcoin is trading at $448. Support for the Liberty Beat comes from Voice and Exit, maximizing human flourishing through radical innovation. Tickets on sale now. Get 10% off with promotional code FREEDOM. June 21st at Austin Music Hall. Get yours today at voiceandexit.com. And from Dorothy Erminger at Capstar Lending. For all your residential mortgage needs, call Dorothy at 512-343-6494 or apply online at calldorothy.com. NMLS number 216624. And from My Magic Mud, an all-natural teeth whitener. Go to mymagicmud.com to hear a short interview with Dr. Griffin Cole. That's mymagicmud.com. The United States Department of Justice is attempting to convince the Supreme Court that police should be allowed to search suspects' cell phones immediately upon arrest without a warrant. The Center for Democracy and Technology and the Electronic Frontier Foundation argue that warrantless searches of cell phones are a serious violation of privacy and constitutional protections. After a 3-year struggle, efforts to overturn the controversial indefinite detention clause included in the National Defense Authorization Act of 2012 have failed. On Monday, the Supreme Court decided against hearing a challenge to sections of the NDAA that allow for indefinite detention of suspected terrorists, stating that the law does not mention detaining United States citizens. The case was brought forth by journalists, scholars, and activists concerned that they could be detained and held without trial. A federal judge had previously found the law unconstitutionally overboard. That decision was later overturned by the Second U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals. Residents of Dallas, Texas have been engaged in a battle over water fluoridation for months. It's reported that the city will save around $1 million annually by ending water fluoridation. 3 city council members have voiced their support for ending fluoridation, while the Dallas County Dental Society is fighting to continue adding hydrofluorosilicic acid to the Dallas water supply. Support for the Liberty Beat comes from Brave New Books, now offering ProPure Water Filtration, the only gravity-driven, all-in-one fluoride removal system that also alkalizes the water as well. Find them in Austin at 1904 Guadalupe Street or online at bravenewbookstore.com. And from Mass Appeal, affordable, high-quality printing, now accepting Bitcoin, online at massappealinc.com. And from Grow Your Own Groceries, homegrown food on every table. That's growyourowngroceries.org. You're listening to the Liberty Beat for April 29th, 2014. Be sure to check out the website at thelibertybeat.com. The Liberty Beat team is excited to announce a new production called The Education Freedom Report, your source for school news, parenting tips, and education spotlights, which will be airing soon. We'd like to share a clip with you from the new show.
In today's world of specialized schooling, where all students are expected to learn the same subject at the same time in the same way, it's difficult to give our children an optimal learning environment. Fortunately, there are several internet-based resources that are filling that need. Startup Learning was created by educational specialist Michael Strong. Along with his team of highly skilled experts, Michael offers one-on-one consultations for parents who are interested in maximizing their child's learning experience. Startup Learning has a multitude of alternatives to the one-size-fits-all public school model. It doesn't matter if your child is attending public or private school, or is homeschooled or unschooled. Startup Learning offers guidance for parents who are looking to give their child the skills and education needed to thrive in the 21st century. For more information, visit startuplearning.me.
I hope you enjoyed that little teaser from our very own Jessica Armand. Support for the Liberty Beat comes from Bitmain Tech, creators of the Antminer S1 180 gigahash Bitcoin miner. No pre-order, ships on time, and sometimes it's early. Buy yours today at bitmaintech.com. And from Affordable Sound, CD and DVD duplication along with posters and promotional materials. Online at affordablesound.com or give them a call at 512-459-5253. You've been listening to the Liberty Beat. Remember, freeing your mind is freeing our world.
You are nothing more than the reflection of a grim, pitiless world, and this is The Onion Week in Review. Following the Supreme Court's ruling on same-sex marriage this week, overjoyed gay couples in Florida rushed out of their homes to have their marriages denied to them. Homosexual couples throughout the southern state told reporters they were ecstatic over the landmark decision supporting gay rights and said they couldn't wait in line and have their requests to be wed rejected by their home state. And in science news, scientists probably discovered a frog or something. They're always doing that sort of shit. In other news, an 8-year-old boy surprises his Marine father during a firefight in Afghanistan. Johnny Depp is now physically unable to walk unless whimsically teeter-tottering across a rolling log, wobbly plank, or swaying beam. And Silvio Berlusconi is transferred to a steamy, all-female penitentiary. If you're seeking a celebrity interview, stay away from that bastard Tobey Maguire, who apparently can't even pick up a phone to say he has a schedule conflict and won't be able to make it into the studio. For more, keep checking theonion.com.
This is the Onion News Network.
We're back with more peace news now. We're talking about low trust in government, record low trust in government, in fact. What could be the cause of that? We're just talking about a police officer who is pleading guilty to beating his child at home and the news surrounding that. But this also was in the news today, and I think it's worth mentioning regarding low trust in government. The Department of Justice's Operation Choke Point may be at the root of those porn star bank account closings. If you haven't heard about this, despite being in good financial standing, adult film performers and others in the porn industry have had their bank accounts abruptly terminated, and the U.S. Department of Justice may have had something to do with it. Liberty Phoenix is calling on our Skype line. Liberty Phoenix, what's going on?
Derek, how's your night going, man?
It's excellent.
Well, I was listening to you earlier, and you were talking about the officer that had, admitted guilt to the child abuse.
Yeah, that was the last story that we just covered.
And at the time, I was walking my dog with my sister, and she said that, well, he should, and because I think you had mentioned something about he took a plea or something to where that he might not have to go to court. And my sister said, no, he should be forced to go to court. We should take guns and force him to go to court. And I was like, no, you can't really do it that way. What you do is you shun him into that being his only option. His best option is to go to court and face his accusers and so forth, and accept the punishment for his crimes. If you justify forcing that man who beat that child to go to court through the means of pointing a gun at him and saying, go or we're going to kill you, that just illegitimizes yourself because you're now initiating force.
Well, I haven't heard in the story.
Would
I have
you
to
agree
stop
with
you.
that?
Yeah, I would agree with you if that were the case. But it's my understanding of the article that the man Yachik is not trying to stay out of court, but he's rather trying to stay out of jail. He's seeking a sentence of supervised probation. And if you have the live feed playing in the background, I have to ask you to mute that and maybe just listen to the Skype feed, because I'm getting a bit of feedback, just so you're aware.
No problem. I'll take care of it.
All right, excellent. So yeah, he's seeking a sentence of supervised probation, not jail.
Say again?
So he's seeking a sentence of supervised probation. So essentially, he would be staying at home. He would be able to possibly keep his job. He would be able to maybe get a new job if they won't have him back because they got rid of their police department, you remember. And it would just be a supervised probation. So someone from the sheriff's department would come down and make sure that he's not beating his kid, and that would be enough.
Now, is that what that's what's going to happen?
That's what he's seeking.
Happen?
Yeah, he's pled guilty to 1 count of child abuse. He's trying to stay out of jail. His sentence is scheduled for July 14th at 8:30 a.m. So if anyone is in the, Loveland area of, I don't know what state they said this was in, but if anyone's in the Loveland area where this is happening, please attend. I'd love to know about it.
How would you handle that if you were the presiding magistrate in a lib-pair decentralized court system? What do you think would be the best appropriate steps to take to ensure that he doesn't harm anybody anymore?
Well, I carry my video camera everywhere I go, and that would be true in lib-pair as well. And with my video camera, I would film this man wherever he is in my neighborhood, when he's at a restaurant. No matter where he is, if I see him in my proximity, I'll be filming him and asking him questions about his behaviors, and if he is, sought any counseling, if he's seeking to move in the right direction. If he's not, then I want to call him out on it and have a conversation. It would be a peaceful conversation, but I think it needs to be had so that he knows that he's not welcome in my community. That if he's anywhere near me, I'm going to give him lip about it, and he's going to have to face the uncomfortable consequences of facing the truth.
I really like that idea, but what happens when there's so many people? Assuming it's lib-pair, I would hope that we'd be past the point of raising psychopaths and sociopaths, so I think it would be very far and few between. So maybe that's why that would be an effective technique. But assuming that we have a lib-pair, but there still is hundreds of thousands of sociopaths and psychopaths going around every day, hurting and raping and pillaging and maiming, and there's so many individuals of that, in that society that would need to be monitored that way. How would you really go about that?
Well, I don't think lib-pair would have a crazy lunatic problem where people are going around murdering each other rampantly. We don't have that problem now. And I could only think that it would be better in a libertarian paradise where people already understand the principles of non-aggression, their peaceful parenting. We can only get to that lib pair if we start with peaceful parenting and raising kids with first principles and all of this stuff. So it's unlikely that we would have these crazy murderers and child molesters and beaters among our ranks in lib pair. But if they did exist, I think that holding video cameras to them and making them aware of the consequences of their actions would be enough. We've already seen an incident like that where Kelly Thomas's murderers were in a restaurant when people sitting at the restaurant recognized Garcia's, I forget his name, Garcia, I guess was his name, and they recognized him from the television and newspapers and said, hey, that's the guy who killed Kelly Thomas. And they took out their video cameras and started recording him and taking pictures and saying, you're not welcome here. Get out. That was at a restaurant, and it wasn't the owners of the restaurant who said get out. It was the other patrons. So when we raise society to the level of morality, when society finally gets to grips with embracing morality, I think that it will also embrace accountability and justice. And that includes holding individuals accountable for their actions in person.
You know, that incident is one of my favorite forms of, natural accountability that's came out of this whole evolution that we've been going through over the past, I don't know, I want to say 15, 20 years. That result right there would have never happened 10 years ago. Without the internet, without the expansion of, the human connectivity, I really don't think that would have ever worked. I mean,
no, it wouldn't. You're absolutely right. It's a unique time. Things are certainly changing. This is the most exciting time we could have possibly hoped to be alive.
Thanks a lot for your time, Derek.
Hey, thanks for calling in, Liberty Phoenix. Any other thoughts you want to share with the crowd before you go?
Have fun. I'll see you at PorkFest.
All right. See you at PorkFest. I can't wait. And PorkFest is just around the corner. If you haven't booked your tickets yet, it's not too late. Go over to PorkFest.com and pick up your tickets. You can even buy them in Bitcoin. It's going to be happening at Rogers Campground in Lancaster, New Hampshire, this June 22nd to 29th. That may seem like a long time away, but it is just around the corner. And trust me, if you are a Liberty lover, you do not want to miss PorkFest. It is the event of freedom in the world. I mean, people come from all over the world to attend this event. It's not as international as some other events, but certainly for freedom, if you love freedom and you want to see what it's like to live in the lib pair, the libertarian paradise that Liberty Phoenix and I were talking about, then you owe it to yourself to attend PorkFest. Let's see, tickets are, I don't even know the price, somewhere around $30, $50, $100, somewhere around there, and then you get a campsite. It's an affordable adventure, great vacation, something for families, for kids, for adults, for singles. There's something for everybody at PorkFest. So I don't get paid to say this. I just love PorkFest and the Free State Project. PorkFest, of course, if you don't know this, stands for the Porcupine Freedom Festival, and the porcupine is the symbol of the Free State Project because they're peaceful people who just want to be left alone, but also believe in defense. Like porcupines, they'll defend themselves. So I was, before we got our call from Liberty Phoenix, I was telling you about a story about the Department of Justice and their secret Operation Choke Point, which is not so secret anymore. And these porn stars who are in good financial standing apparently losing their bank accounts. Well, why would that be? Well, it seems the two are related, and Reason.com's article by Elizabeth Nolan Brown explicates what could be the potential reasoning. Operation Choke Point. We will learn more about this ridiculous attempt to control and manipulate the direction of society. We're not going to have it in a free society. Peace News Now will return.
Liberty activists around the country are starting to realize politics alone won't set us free. So what will? At Liberty on the Rocks, we believe the answer starts with living your principles, spreading ideas, and connecting with those around you. By starting a Liberty on the Rocks network, you can make a difference by uniting libertarian thinkers. Find out how much fun it is to build your local network from the ground up. Visit libertyontherocks.org today to get started.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this, right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it, and once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
Immigrating to the Shire was easy. I was instantly plugged into a community of individuals who also care about peace, liberty, and justice, and are willing to do something about it.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here, and I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, add yourself to the Shire map at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com.
The 3 most important things you can do for LRN.FM are: 1. Let your friends know you're listening to LRN.FM on your social networking profile. 2. Buy the things you buy online through shop.lrn.fm. 3. Give $5 a month to the AMP program at amp.lrn.fm. You likely buy all kinds of things online. Amazon is the largest online retailer. You can get what you need at the same great prices, and LRN gets a cut. Please do your online shopping at shop.lrn.fm. Are you looking for camping, hunting, survival, or shooting gear? ManVentureOutpost.com carries the name brands you want at the lowest prices. Ammunition, knives, firearm accessories, archery, air guns, scopes, binoculars, laser sights, tactical flashlights, fish finders, and boating equipment. ManVentureOutpost.com is family-owned and has the lowest prices. Go check it for yourself. Get it quick. Get it from ManVentureOutpost.com.
Now buy firearms at ManVentureOutpost.com.
Did you know you can get news updates about what's happening with the Liberty Radio Network delivered in the way you prefer? You can sign up for our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. Plus, you can stay in the loop by joining our Facebook profile at facebook.lrn.fm or follow us at Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm. It's all free, so sign up now at updates.lrn.fm for news updates delivered to your email box, facebook.lrn.fm to follow our Facebook page, and twitter.lrn.fm to receive our tweets.
Hi, I'm Derek J. I don't want a politician to represent me. To me, government is the idea that one group of people can coerce everyone to comply with an edict or face increasing punishments up to and including death. Despite perhaps the most noble of intentions, the best government services are a far cry from what could be provided for by voluntary interactions. Besides, the people who call themselves the government waged wars and put peaceful people in jail for crimes involving no victims. If Starbucks used some of its money to drop bombs, I wouldn't shop there. So why would I support the American empire? The empire does not require my consent.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. That's victimlesscrimespree.com.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
Welcome back to Peace News Now. If you enjoy the content you hear on this program, consider making a donation in cryptocurrency at donate.peacenewsnow.com. That's where you can send a crypto donation, either in Dogecoin, Litecoin, Bitcoin, Feathercoin, or Namecoin. You know, since 2012, Peace News Now has been brought to you entirely by cryptocurrency donations by listeners like you. That's right. We don't take commercial sponsors. We don't deliver listeners to advertisers. We engage with our listeners. I want to make this a conversation, a dialogue. Liberty Phoenix was able to call in on our Skype line just minutes ago, which is Peace News Now, if you'd like to do the same. You can also call into the program. The number is Hi-Fi CivDis. That's 443-424-8347. But most importantly, if you enjoy this type of content, it can't be possible without your donations. So go over to donate.peacenewsnow.com to keep this train a-rolling. And I will be joining the folks up in Keene, New Hampshire in less than a month. So get ready for this operation to be relaunched as something even more exciting than ever before. So picking up from Reason.com, where we're hearing about porn stars losing their bank accounts and the Department of Justice having something to do with it, we continue from Reason.com. Under Operation Choke Point, the Department of Justice, or DOJ, and its allies are going after legal but subjectively undesirable business ventures by pressuring banks to terminate their bank accounts or refuse their business. The very premise is clearly chilling. The DOJ is coercing private businesses in an attempt to centrally engineer the American marketplace based on its own politically biased moral judgments. Targeted businesses, and the categories so far have included payday lenders, ammunition sales, dating services, purveyors of drug paraphernalia, and online gambling sites. Jason Oxman, CEO of the Electronics Transactions Associations at The Hill, said, quote, Operation Choke Point is flooding payments companies that provide processing services to those industries with subpoenas, civil investigative demands, and other burdensome and costly legal demands. Now, I haven't done my investigation into this Operation Choke Point, but one has to wonder if this is exactly the reason why PayPal, a MasterCard, and Visa stopped giving donations to WikiLeaks when WikiLeaks was in hot water. Did the Department of Justice knock on their door and say, hey, you're not going to accept any more donations for that WikiLeaks organization? Got it? Operation Choke Point. The Department of Justice will let you know what they will hand down the justice. They just want to, as this author puts it, centrally engineer the American marketplace based on moral judgments. That is exactly what this is. Quote, the theory behind this enforcement program has superficial logic. 1. Increase the legal and compliance costs of serving certain disfavored merchant categories, and payments companies will simply stop providing service to such merchants. And it's working. Payments companies across the country are cutting off service to categories of merchants that, although providing a legal service, are creating the potential for significant financial and reputational harm as law enforcement publicizes its activities. Thus far, payday lenders have been the most frequent target, and if payday lenders are today's target, what category will be next? And who makes that decision? Well, I'm not sure who makes that decision, but it seems the next big targeted category in the adult film is the adult film industry. Last week, adult film actress Tegan Presley and another unknown number of others in the porn industry received notices that their Chase bank accounts were being abruptly terminated. When Presley went to the bank in person to ask why, she was told it's because she's considered high risk. Vice's Mary O'Hara was the first to note a likely link between the porn bank account closings and Operation Choke Point. The Department of Justice did not respond to Vice News' request for comment, and for years, various government initiatives have been aimed at reaching the unbanked or underbanked. Federal officials claim to want to help these individuals avoid high fees and other downsides of non-traditional financial services, but it's hard not to suspect that these efforts have at least as much to do with wanting a record of everyone's financial goings-on. If the unbanked were a real concern, why would federal agencies be simultaneously encouraging banks to drop more customers? Targeting porn performers or not, Operation Choke Point represents an incredible abuse of regulatory power. In a recent American Banker op-ed, former Federal Deposit Insurance Corp chairman William M. Isaac, called it a direct assault on the democratic system and free market economy. In a March 2013 hearing before the Senate Banking Committee, Senator David Vitter, a Republican from Louisiana, pointed out the obvious, that the Department of Justice has no statutory authority to be doing this. But why bother with statutory authority when you can just secretly strong-arm highly regulated businesses into doing what you want? I've never been much of a cryptocurrency evangelist myself, but I'm beginning to come around. And that's exactly how I see this story, because the author, Elizabeth Brown, says she's not a cryptocurrency enthusiast, but I am. And I want to tell these porn stars, what are you waiting for? Peace News Now has been operating on cryptocurrencies for almost 2 years now. And the porn industry is behind Peace News Now. Come on, you're supposed to be you're supposed to be in the lead. You're supposed to charge ahead with this stuff. I would think that the porn stars would be raking in the crypto dough, but they are not yet at least. And once they see that you can set up a Bitcoin wallet, have complete control over those private keys, put something in cold storage, keep something hot so you can spend on Amazon or anywhere else on with your gift cards, then we're going to see an explosion, not just in the porn industry, but an explosion in the use of Bitcoin, because it's not just enough to accept Bitcoin. People are going to want to spend it, right? They want to see these porn stars, so they're going to be spending Bitcoin to do it. And yeah, maybe the news media will say, oh, Bitcoin, that's all about drugs and porn, right? It's all the wastrels, the worst of society. Let them say that. We've got money that works. They can keep their fiat crap and let the bank accounts close and let the American Department of Justice manipulate their behavior with the market. Now, we don't have enough time to cover the full of this story, but I want to just introduce and maybe tease a story that's coming up from the dailymail.uk, following along with the theme of, why don't Americans trust the government? Why don't young people trust the government? Why is there a record low number of trust in the government? Well, this headline provides a clue. Widow devastated as judge rules her widow is devastated as judge rules her $280,000 home will be sold over an unpaid tax bill of $6.30. This is not a joke. This is not a story from The Onion. The home sold for less than half market value at a 2011 auction, and the widow in Pennsylvania has this story to tell. We will be back with more Peace News Now and distrust in government when PNN Live returns. Stay tuned. And if you heard me talking about those crypto donations, here is the screen which you can use to make one. Thank you.
Never return calls before listening to your voicemail. Your wireless phone sends calls you didn't answer into voicemail, and it shows you phone numbers for calls you missed. Important. Don't call back callers you missed until you have first listened to your messages. Otherwise, you frustrate people who bothered to leave messages by asking them to repeat a message they just left as your voicemail greeting instructed them to. If you're a job applicant, this alone could be a deal killer. And even if you're not, there are few things you can convey to someone that are as fundamentally maddening as, "I didn't hear you." With money and attention so scarce now, effective communication skills have never been more important. For more tips for job seekers and everyone else, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
Shiny badges on your jacket, shiny badges, start a conversation with your neighbor or your doctor or your family or your school. Now there's teachers and lawyers and business executives, and they all wear shiny badges and they all reject the state. Shiny badges on your jacket, shiny badges show the world that you reject coercion and aggression and oppression by the state. ShinyBadges.com.
The warning signs.
First, he made me feel special. He promised he'd look after me, provide for my future. He broke every promise he made.
Millions of Americans afflicted.
I was ready to leave, but he told me he'd change. So I gave him another chance. I was such a fool.
The consequences.
Things only got worse. He started making my decisions for me. about my job, my kids' education, my money, my safety, my future. He took away my choices, but I kept going back to the same politicians.
The diagnosis? Battered voter syndrome.
I fell for the same old lies. They were just playing with my emotions, telling me what I wanted to hear. That's not right.
Stop the insanity of voting for the same old abusers. Declare your independence from the two-party system and join the New Hampshire Liberty Party today at nhliberty.info.
Imagine someone in your community getting in their car, turning on the radio, and hearing the Liberty Radio Network. You can make that vision a reality with your own micro radio station. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how you can put our programs on the air in your area. You can have LRN.FM running around the clock, and you can even add in your own local shows. Building a radio station is simple, but programming isn't. That's where LRN.FM comes in. Learn more at broadcast.lrn.fm. That's broadcast.lrn.fm. Free Talk Live.
It's as I'm watching not a cable, just regular news, and they give me the news, and the next flash is two people fornicating, okay? And then every other word is F-U, a B-I-C, a hoe, and all this stuff, and penis. Do you think I need to say that? That's not acceptable no matter what. You're saying free airwaves for anything goes for anybody.
For public access, yes. That's
well,
exactly its
that
purpose.
shouldn't be
That's the purpose of it.
Why not?
Do you want a red light in front of a cop?
Probably not in front of a cop
All
because
right.
he'd hurt
What's
me.
the same difference if you're going to have that kind of FU and seeing two people fornicating after they just said the weather is 92 degrees and 5
Well,
inches of
wait, I think you're a little confused about something.
No,
here.
I'm not confused.
Point of information.
You're trying to confuse people.
Let's clarify
free
that.
Airwaves are free within limits.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM. This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
You're not going to believe this. A widow has been told for the second time by a Pennsylvania court that her home's sale at auction after she failed to pay property taxes is valid. She owed only $6.30 at the time it was sold. Eileen Bastidi, 53 of Aliquippa, lost legal rights to her $280,000 home over 2 years ago after failing to pay the paltry sum, but has made multiple appeals on grounds she didn't know it was owed. The most recent decision, made last week, denied her request to reverse the September 2011 sale of a house she's still reportedly living in. I paid everything, and I didn't know about the $6.30, Bastisi said. But for the house to be sold just because of $6.30 is crazy. She had previously owed other taxes, the court noted, but at the time of the sale she had owed just $235, including interest and fees. Beaver County Common Pleas Judge Gus Queedy said in his ruling that the County Tax Claim Bureau complied with notification requirements in state law before the auction. Quote, there's no doubt that she had actual receipt of the notification of tax upset sale on July 7, 2011 and August 16, 2011, the judge wrote. Moreover, August 12, 2011, a notice of sale was sent by first-class mail and was not returned. Bastisi also admitted receiving those notices, the judge asserted, according to the Pittsburgh Tribune Review. He wrote, in the ruling, there is no doubt Bastidi had actual receipt of them. Okay, so it is not in dispute. She received a piece of paper saying that they were going to sell her house. Look at this woman. Look at what she looks like. Does this look like the face of a woman who would hold out on $6.30 just to spite the government and not pay their taxes? What a sad state of affairs, the photo is captioned. Eileen Bastidi frowns, or Battisti, Eileen Battisti, frowns as she talks about last year and the situation that led up to a court decision about her home. There is no doubt, blah, 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 blah. The property sold for about $116,000, and she's entitled to $108,000 if the subsequent appeals are unsuccessful, according to the paper. She's going to get that money, but she's going to lose her house. All of the notice requirements were met, said Quiddies. In a tax assessment laws, I even feel sorry for her, but I can't do anything to help her. Everyone felt bad about it, and here's a picture of the home. Well, if you felt bad about it, Judge, how about not taking her home? How about that? Would that be so hard? Look, she's got a beautifully manicured lawn. It's got beautiful landscaping, flowers. It's a stone front. It looks like this is a pretty expensive property, and for it to sell for $116,000 proves to you that the government is the one who sold it, because they don't care. They just want to get it sold for that $6. As long as they make $6, they're happy. An attorney for the purchaser did not return a phone call message left on Monday. Joe Asker, Beavers County's chief solicitor, said the judge got the decision right based on the law. The county never wants to see anybody lose their home, but at the same time, the tax sale law, the tax real estate law, doesn't give a whole lot of room for error either. Battisti argued her husband handled the paperwork for the property's taxes before he passed away in 2004. So it sounds like she just wasn't qualified to do this. She didn't have the paperwork. She didn't know what her husband was doing with all of the payments to the state, and she just fell behind or just lost control, didn't know what she was doing. I'm sure if someone knocked on her door and said, hey, you know, Miss Battisti, you are about $7 in debt to the city government. We'd really like you to pay for that, or we're going to have to take your home. If you just had a human conversation about it, I'm sure she would have broken out her checkbook or reached into her secret cookie jar or something and found $7 to make it right. With a home like that, I think she's got the $7. But now her home is being sold because of that $6.30. Yeah, she's going to get $100,000 out of it, but if she wins the appeals, that is. But she's lost her home. Is that really what she wanted? It's bad, she says. She had hard times. I guess her husband kind of took care of all that stuff. It seems she was having a hard time coping with the loss of her husband, and that just made it set in a little more. Battisti told the paper she had no desire to collect the funds and will do everything in her power to retain possession of her home. Part of the process that will include an appeal to the Commonwealth Court, which appeared earlier, blah, 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 blah. She'll be allowed to stay in her home until a final ruling is made. Well, isn't that nice? They're going to let her stay in her home for that $6. I mean, can you imagine? What if they didn't let her stay in her home? What if they're like, well, hey, the law's the law. If we let one person escape and not follow the law, then we'd have to let everybody, right? So that $6 really means the end of the world to us. Gosh, these people are such criminals, and that is why people don't have trust in government. Record low levels of trust in government. It's because they act like criminals, and we can see it plain as day. Now, Filipino protesters burn an effigy of Barack Obama to protest the new defense deal. This from
Filipino protesters burned an effigy of President Barack Obama in Manila on Monday as the U.S. signed a deal that gives its military greater access to Philippine bases. Some 800 activists burned mock U.S. flags and chanted, "No Obama, no bases, no war," on the road leading to Malacanang Palace, where Obama met with Philippine President Benigno Aquino III. The effigy showed Obama riding a chariot pulled by Aquino, who was depicted as a dog.
All right, so that's the story of Filipino protesters burning an effigy of Barack Obama. An interesting story. I can't read too much from it because Breitbart has this annoying thing where it won't let me stop playing their crazy videos. So sorry I don't get to report on that story so much, but there's another interesting thing happening. Dinesh D'Souza has a new trailer out for his movie America. He made waves back in 2012 when he released his first movie, Obama's America, or 2016 it was called, Obama's America, and it had the following trailer. I'm going to play this for you first, and then we've got the next trailer to follow. This is not a new movie, this is an old movie.
My journey to America can be traced back to the independence of India, the land of my fathers. Barack Obama's journey to America can be traced back to the independence of Kenya, the land of his fathers.
Tonight, because of what we did on this day, in this election, at this defining moment, change has come to America.
The U.S. government has not had a budget for over 1,000 days and counting.
So what he's doing is pitting one class of Americans against another.
And we can't afford the same political games and tactics that always pit us against one another.
We are all shaped by our pasts, and we carry elements of the past into the future. But we have to be careful, because nothing can rob the future quite as much as the debts of the past.
When Congress refuses to act, then I have an obligation as president to do what I can without them.
This is going to be a big deal. People are saying, you know, look, he's pointing out an important point about debt and chattel slavery. Putting children who aren't even born yet into debt is immoral. You can't pay for things and promise that your grandchildren who haven't even been born yet are going to pay for it. You just can't do that. Now he's got a new trailer out for a movie just called America. We've got not enough time to share it with you, but I'll just tell you, having made the second highest grossing political documentary of all time, that movie that I just showed you the trailer for, 2016, Obama's America, now, as promised, following up with America, setting up some fireworks of his own to rival the ones 2016 generated. Producer, writer, and kind of host Dinesh D'Souza says of his new documentary, quote, "We answer the central moral challenge of America's critics, which is that America's greatness is based on theft, plunder, and oppression." Could this all have to do with the meme in society about low trust in government? Seems perfectly relevant to me. Let's close out the show. Next segment, Peace News Now, returns.
MineThings.com is a fun online game that pits you against people around the world to mine for scarce resources. Do business in a capitalist economy with virtually mined gold, tax-free. It doesn't require a big time commitment. Your little mining robot guy works whether you're logged in or not. It costs nothing to play, but you can buy bonuses. They even accept bitcoins. Go to MineThings.com, use coupon code FTL, and double your mining speed. It's free. MineThings.com.
If you are like most people, chances are you're malnourished. Most people do not get the 90 essential nutrients the body needs to survive. This lack of nutrition can lead to all sorts of health issues. If you don't feel as good as you'd like, or if you're looking to get a jump start on a new, healthier you, Youngevity has your answer. With the Healthy Start Pack, you get all the nutrients your body needs. With all 90 essential nutrients and 115 fruits and vegetables, you get a supplement system that is antioxidant rich and beyond compare. The Healthy Start Pack includes products backed by 40 years of science and millions of dollars in research, like Beyond Tangy Tangerine, EFA Plus 90, and OsteoFX Plus. To order your Healthy Start Pack today, call 607-739-5595. Again, that number is 607-739-5595. Once you start taking the Healthy Start Pack, you will see and feel why our motto is 90 for life.
The three most important things you can do for LRN.FM are: 1. Let your friends know you're listening to LRN.FM on your social networking profile. 2. Buy the things you buy online through shop.lrn.fm. 3. Give $5 a month to the AMP program at amp.lrn.fm. It's my firm belief that the AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented groups. Support all your favorite organizations, but make sure you give $5 a month to the AMP program at amp.lrn.fm. Have you ever wanted to help a hardworking person get their business off the ground? Then join me in enjoying some BuzzBox coffee. Let's make a difference, one cup at a time. Join us in helping people buy their own coffee farms through at least 100 microloans via World Vision. Free Talk Live coffee drinkers will truly change lives forever. To get the best coffee you've ever tasted, it's organic, shade-grown, and top 1% Arabica grade. Go to coffee.freetalklive.com. The first pound's free, just cover shipping.
If you can't listen to the Liberty Radio Network's internet streams, free satellite channel, or radio affiliates, no worries. You can listen to LRN.FM from any phone, anywhere. Add this number to your phone, 213-493-0309. It's a long-distance call, so make sure you're familiar with your phone's calling plan. The Liberty Radio Network listen lines are locked into our stream 24 hours a day. Call 213-493-0309. That's 213-493-0309.
Free Press Publications is an independent alternative media and publishing company founded in June 2009 with the mission of ensuring a free press for the freedom movement and is committed to spreading the message of peace, freedom, love, and liberty. FPP also gives new authors an avenue for publishing freedom-oriented material. FPP brings you daily news and commentary at fpp.cc, as well as weekly news in the FPP Freedom Minute and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio at fppradio.com. The monthly newspaper FPP News at news.fpp.cc and books at shop.fpp.cc. Find FPP online at fpp.cc. That's fpp.cc, as in Creative Commons.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
Hey, something really cool happened during the last break. I received a Bitcoin donation. And this is something that every break during Peace News Now, I put up a QR code on the screen so that viewers and people who watch later on can put their phones up to the screen, scan the QR code, and send me some Bitcoin. Well, one of you listeners has done that, and I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. It's especially cool when it happens live, like receiving dollar donations. I mean, I guess you could see if you had your PayPal account like up on the screen, but I've just got a regular Bitcoin wallet on my phone, and it goes like whenever you get a donation. Wow, one just happened. So thanks to 1JV, that's any Bitcoin address is like a long string of letters and numbers that starts with a 1, and this address starts with 1JV. So hey, you know who you are. Thank you so much for supporting Peace News Now. Every little bit helps, and that donation gets to go to the things that I spend it on essentially are food and living expenses, and I do that all through the Gift app. If you are a Bitcoin user and you're not already using this app, you have to check it out. GYFT will unlock so many doors for you. In fact, I was able to go to Barnes & Noble today and buy, a friend of mine has a daughter who's turning 3, and I wanted to get her a book, so I chose to get The Little Engine That Could, a favorite story of mine as a child. I think of myself as the little engine that could. I think we're all the little engine that could, and I want to infuse the morals of that story into this young person. So I was able to purchase this book using a gift card that I purchased with Gift. It stays on your phone, and then you go to your phone when you're ready for checkout. You just go to the app, and then you show the gift card that is virtual. Like, it'll look like you're holding a gift card, but you're holding a phone. And so the cashier looks at it, says, oh, that looks like a gift card. And then they can scan it right from the screen, or they can punch in the numbers, and boom, it's all paid for, and it's faster than a credit card. I know when I'm explaining it, it's new, so it takes a little bit longer to explain, but trust me, you go up to a cash register, you can pay with Bitcoin, the cashier doesn't even know it, and it's faster, safer, and cheaper than spending it with a credit card, because with Gift you actually get points back whenever you pay for a gift card with Bitcoin. So I've been able to get free gift cards through Gift. All right, enough free advertising for Gift. They are not a sponsor of this show, but I truly believe that they're doing remarkable things. It was possible only weeks ago to buy Walmart gift cards with Gift. So hey, enough about them. We were talking about Dinesh D'Souza and his new film, America, which promises to be even more controversial than the last. Here's the trailer, which is already getting people upset.
We're living in the American era, but this moment of American triumph is very fragile.
Of course we can say thievery was a critical element to the expansion of the American empire and the establishment of the American way of life. Of course.
The settlers came in, drove out, exterminated the native population. That's one of the two original sins of society.
Another being slavery?
The other is slavery.
The ideal of racial reparations is a good one. I think it's one about justice.
Why do you want to blow up Mount Rushmore? You're quoted saying it's like having Hitler looking over you.
It's a symbol of oppression. It's a symbol of genocide for our people.
And there's a reason why most of the world regards the United States as a predatory colonial power.
The war with Germany has ended. The forces of freedom have triumphed.
One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
When you hear the name America, what are some words that come to your mind?
European expansion, conquest, colonization, genocide.
Big private capital, unless it's constrained in some fashion, is extremely destructive.
And more destructive than even centralized federal power?
In a country like ours, yes, much more destructive.
This argument at the core is a moral indictment of America and of the free market system.
Reagan had called the Soviet Union, you remember, an evil empire, and the Soviet Union is dissolved. So who's the new evil empire?
Well, you're sitting in it.
How badly we need right now a Washington, a Lincoln, a Reagan, where we don't have them, but we do have us.
That is the trailer. The movie is coming July 4th. The website is americathemovie.com if you want to learn more. It's not any kind of endorsement or advertisement for the movie, but I'll be checking it out. I want to see, get my finger on the pulse of the American public and what conservatives think about America, because Dinesh D'Souza is considered a conservative, and it'll be interesting to see his take. Reading from the article at deadline.com, says director John Sullivan's film comes out 2 years after its predecessors, hitting theaters on the 4th of July. Here's the new trailer, which was unveiled tonight on Fox News Channel's The Kelly File. So appropriate advertising there on the propaganda network Fox News. Very exciting. So I don't know what to make of it. We'll see the film later, but I'm excited to see that people are at least considering that America is an evil empire. It's right there in the trailer. They say, Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall, and then they say, well, you know, that was the evil empire. What's the evil empire now, like 30 years ago, and you're sitting in it. It's America. And it should be no surprise to people, if you know American history, that American tyrants are colonialists. They seek to expand through warfare, and they do so at the expense of their population, and we're sick of it. So we're not going to take it anymore. One way that people are standing up to say no to the American empire is by opting to use an alternative currency. My favorite is Bitcoin, and I'm wearing my Bitcoin shirt here today. I'm wearing my Voluntarius pin, says Building a Free Society without permission. And that's exactly what people are doing. Now I'm going to share with you up on the screen a new article by CNET which covers Yelp. This was shared to us by LRN Newbie 187, who says that Yelp is now following which businesses accept Bitcoin. This is good news because I want to spend Bitcoin anywhere that's willing to accept it. So if you're a business and you sell burgers, well, I could go to Burger King, which accepts Bitcoin through those gift cards, or I could go to some local business. If you're like, hey, I'm Little Lucy's Mini Donuts Shop, and I make donuts you can shop there. So that's going to pull me in. And look, Yelp has added to their page. A lot of people use Yelp. It's like an app. It's a website where you can go and review restaurants and tell people what sort of hours they have, what sort of service they've got, whether or not they accept credit cards, what kind of line you can expect when you show up there, how much money it costs, all kinds of information about businesses and restaurants. And now one more is included. I don't know if you can see that on the screen. It's a little bit small, but we'll try and blow it up here for you. It says, accepts Bitcoin. Yes. So now CNET reports that Yelp businesses are telling their customers whether or not they accept Bitcoin. So the company announced Monday that it has started listing whether or not businesses accept Bitcoin. The Bitcoin information is listed under what forms of payments a business takes, such as credit cards or cash only. Quote, we're constantly thinking of how to make our businesses' attributes more useful for customers and businesses, Yelp wrote in a blog post. That's why we're excited to announce that as of today, we're adding a new attribute. Accepts Bitcoin? Yes. While Bitcoin has been on a years-long roller coaster ride with its value surging and plummeting, regulators applauding and dismissing it, and trading exchanges being created and imploding, the digital currency is gradually transforming from an obscure idea into a possible payment mechanism. Not only is Yelp including Bitcoin in its listings, but cryptocurrency ATMs are beginning to pop up. Some casinos have said they'll accept digital currency payments, and even eBay has begun allowing for limited sales of Bitcoins in the UK and US websites. Very interesting story from CNET.com, but we'll have to leave it there. I didn't get to the story about how child porn charges have been filed against an ex-state representative from Illinois. You'll have to read about that on your own or catch it online at derekj.me, where I blogged about it this morning. Until next time, we'll be with you next Sunday. We're going to be talking with the creators of the PeaceKeeper app, so stay tuned to peacenewsnow.com. Peace.
On Free Talk Live.
All right. Thanks so much for everyone for following and listening along. One last time, I get to hang out my hat and ask for your cryptocurrency donations. Boy, it sure was exciting to see a donation come in live from 1JV. So I want to thank that listener again for your contribution to the show and remind you that it's only possible because of viewers like you. Every little bit counts. Thank you.
On Saturday night, from there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.